Dave here, how are you? Today is the 3rd of March, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Weather outside is beautiful, 26 degrees Celsius, 22 degrees Celsius inside here. I'm hoping everyone has had a good week, and you'll notice that I look younger because I have a fill light down over here which is going to illuminate everything and also will illuminate all of my product here that I'm going to try and demonstrate. Anyway, again, I hope everyone's been well. I've been reading down the chat here. There's a bit of chat regarding the NBN broadband. I put a post on Patreon probably 3 days ago, and I'm very interested to see different people's response and how they've got around some of the issues, and other people have said, yeah, it's fine, great, works fantastic. So we'll see what happens. All right, okay, so I'm ready to get started, and let's do it. I'll read the run sheet because otherwise I forget what's happening. Okay, playing around with casting resin. Now this stuff here is Perfect Cast, and this is the rigid model. They do deep cast, rigid, and another one which is just a paint on, which looks like a very, very thick gloss coat if you want to paint on top of something already. And I'm going to use U-Butte's food safe dyes. Now apparently these dyes can also, they're cooking dyes. I did not know that. I read things, see. When I read water dye non-toxic, that's what they are. So apparently it says here you can cook with them. Don't take my word, don't take my word for it. You read the thing yourself, and if you drop dead, that's your problem. Don't come crying to me. Well, you won't be able to because you'll be dead. Okay, that's a bit cheeky, isn't it? Okay, so there we go. That's what I'm going to do, and to give you a little bit more of an indication, I created this, what looks like one of those sticks they used in bush bands, you know, with Coca-Cola bottle tops and things all nailed onto it and they shake it. But it's not. This is actually all the different samples that I'm going to create with the resin and different colors. Well, I'm going to try anyway. And I'm going to pour it. Notice the back, there's no holes through yet. Because once I've poured it all and it's set after 7 days solid, then I'm going to put it this way up through my thicknesser. And I'm going to cut the top, this side off, and that will expose all the undersides, and hoping it doesn't smash anything, but we will find out, and we will also see how it holds in a round cylinder hole. And then I have written on each one how many drops of color I have put into each of these depositories, whatever you want to call them. And so I will be able to hold it up against the light because you'll be able to see straight through it. And then I might take this sample down to the store at Carbotech and hang it on the wall down there. So anyone who's getting it, because that's where I got this from, anyone who's getting it will be able to say, that's how Dave did it on the show. So there you go. That is coming very, very soon. So don't nick off. You'll love to see that. I noticed someone just made a comment regarding Vegemite. Now, why would you do that? It's a mystery to me. Maybe later on in the show we might do something. NBN, I've just mentioned it. It should be here in a few months. Every time I've checked on availability, it's always gone back a quarter of a year, a quarter of a year, a quarter of a year. And that's been happening for about 3 years. This time they say the build has actually commenced, and I should be able to have it in 3 months' time. Now, it'll be interesting when they get to my block, because it's not just a matter of dig a trench and bring it in, because, you know, there's some obstructions. We'll see how it goes. I'm very, very interested. Lager phone, Dave. The underside should not look any different to the top side. The top side is going to stay how it is. I'm just talking about the question that Respects Wood has just made a comment on, or that he's asked me. Will the bottom side look any different to the top side? I don't think it will. And I'm going to play around with all sorts of ways of experimenting with this stuff before I actually try and do a river table, because that's kind of the thing everyone aspires to do, but it's been done to death. So I left it alone. But I'd like to do one, and I notice on Instagram, Cunningham's Creations, I think it is. Jump onto Instagram, follow me on Instagram, and you can see all the people that I follow as well. and they will, I'm learning a heap from these people. So jump on, become a friend with me on Instagram if you want to. There should be links down the bottom. And as I say, find out what's happening, because this guy is making chopping boards with river table chopping board style. You know what I mean? It's he's done resin infills, and you need the rigid for that one. So the one that's deep cast is only for filling holes. It has no structural integrity, really. It can't hold on and support, even though it is an epoxy. Anyway, we'll get to all that in a minute. What's the next thing? Festool CT-26 and the new Midi, the differences. Now, I promised to tell Hilton Bond about these, but I totally forgot it last week because I was so engrossed with the resawing on the bandsaw and the new fence that I made for it. You know, it's... I don't remember everything as I'm going along. All right, so I'll talk about that right now. The CT-26 has a 3,900 litre a minute suction capacity. It has a secondary point, like it has two power points. One is the, auxiliary socket area. So one comes standard with a power point that's an automatic power point. You plug a machine into the power point, turn the sander on, and it turns the dust extractor on and then turns it off automatically if you so desire. The second point there can be used for all sorts of things, and I've put a Bluetooth receiver controller unit in that second auxiliary point. It's a plug and play point, and they're very easy to do. It also has a circuit breaker on it. Now, that's something that the new range has come out with, because if you're going to get one of these dust extractors in Australia in the not too distant future, I think it's a month or two, you will not be able to take it onto a work site that is controlled by authorities that have safety conditions in place. It must have a circuit breaker on it. Hence the new range has come in. That's about it. It's a great machine, and it will also take the cyclonic separator that Festool have got, which I purchased because I like it a lot. It's nice and flat on top. I can put other systems on top of that. The Midi is a whole new ball game. It's totally digital, basically. It doesn't need to have a plug and play Bluetooth unit put in it. It's there whether you want it or not. It's straight off. It pulls 3,700 litres a minute, 200 litres less per minute than the CT-26. Now, they say that you can't use the Midi with the separator. I do, or have, because I've tried it on the unit that's down in the store, and it worked just fine for me. Now, that's not saying that it's going to work great for you guys. Your call. Festool don't advise it. I've said it's fine. The other thing the Midi has is a reverse pulse, a manual reverse pulse. Pardon me. So when you've got the machine plugged in and you've got the hose pushed into the suction port, it has two ports, has a suction and a blower port. You can put it in and use it as a blower or put it in for suction. The machine will, you put your hand over the end of the nozzle when it's sucking away like crazy, and then there's a lever on the side just above the air filter, and you crunch it, push it down, and it sends a reverse pulse, and it blows air back through the filter, through the air filter that's inside. And so that will free up dust, everything that's been kind of clogged in it. It only does it for a second, like that, and it's done. And then it starts sucking in the correct direction. Also on the side, it has a tray that the filter lives in. You just pull it straight up the side. In the other machines, in the 26 and the 36 and all the previous models, they've been up underneath, like flat, up under the top section of the dust extractor, not a cylinder going down inside and destroying all of your capacity for collection. One of the great things about the Festool is they have these flat filters, same as in a car, you know, the filters that are in a car. Okay, so Paul Angus off to the naughty corner. Okay. So that's basically the the Midi in a nutshell. It has a switch, a manual button, and also has another button you push and it will increase the airspeed or decrease the airspeed. You use those functions. The 26 has got a knob that you turn to do the same thing. You use those functions, you turn the suction right down when you're sanding, and that stops pulling the pad hard down and giving you swirling marks everywhere. And you turn it back up again for when you're doing savage jobs like CT-26 or the CapEx. And also in that situation, you use a 36mm hose. Talking about the hoses, they've both got the hoses that have got the protective sheath over the top of them, and they are very, very nice. And the hoses are really supple as well. So they don't kink up, they don't get caught on things, they don't catch on things as you're going over the edge. All right, so there you go. They will not affect the resin. We have been using these and it works fine. This is what we've been told works fine with them. So we'll get to that in a second, Rob. Dave, now you have to get the no glare glasses. I probably do, and the no glare forward. But don't worry, I'll take the glasses off. There we go. Put them back on. All right, what do we got next? Next thing, so that, Hilton, if you wanted to know, I know that you've gone out and bought the 26, but for anyone else that might have been curious, that's the answer. Enough Festool talk. Okay, bandsaw resaw fence video released. What did you think of that? I made a fence because I was ripping some timber. Let me have a look here. This guy here, this is a piece of Australian bloodwood, and it's not, it's no easy task cutting this with that little bandsaw. But I thought I'd show you how it ended up, and I'm also going to bring it over to this camera on the side here. We're doing fine. We've only gone about 15 minutes into the show. Not even that, 12. Now I'm going to show you this little guy here. Now this is a moisture meter. Now this was given to me by Ian Kerry. It's an invasive type, so it's got two little pins at the top. But this thing is so easy to use. When he showed me how to use it, I thought, well, I got to have one of these, and he gave me one. So here we go. I'm going to switch over to the other camera. Now you can see the board there. I'm just going to wait for everything to be happy with the camera. There's the little beastie with the prongs. It's very easy to use. This is designed for timber. So you still sell stuff for timber. You turn it on by push that button, and see there's a little tree in the corner. I'm going to push it into the timber, and it's going to tell me the moisture. Reading upside down, that's saying 18%. Back to naught, and turns itself off. That couldn't be any easier. I'm going to switch it back to the other camera. So what do you think about that? Now it only registers between 6% and 42%. So if you've got something that's wetter than 42%, it'll have something LO or something will pop up on it. And if it's less than 6%, it'll just say 0. It says, you know, you got to be crazy. Do you want something to be less than 6% moisture content? Funnily enough, I have got a few things like that. And, you know, plywood in this room tends to get very, very dry. And most of the timber in here is traveling around 7%, maybe 9%. But the wet stuff that I've milled, that's going to let me know when that gets down to around about 7% on the outside. I may rip it again and then check the other side to see if it's 7 or it might be 10 on the inside. We're going to let it dry out a bit more then. So that was great. You want to know how much they cost? $35 Australian. It's a bargain. So if you want to know where Ian Kerry is, because he's a still distributor in Australia, he's at Valley Heights in the Blue Mountains. So he's beside Bunnings and behind the BP service station on the highway. Duck in and say, Dave sent me, and Bob Macker, you can't say that because you see him every Wednesday night anyway for your sharpen up night. But drop in and say, Dave sent me, and Ian might say, are you looking for a moisture meter? And you'll say, how the hell did you know that? He's a very smart man. All right, what's the next thing? Next thing, moving the fence on a joint. And now the other week, I did just a quick video on how to tidy up the fence. I put the Rotex over the top with Festool fleece, spelt VLIES. I used the 800 grit model. I use dust extraction with it because it's an aluminium oxide pad, and it does remove a little bit of cast iron as you're traveling. So you just do it evenly. And the fence, how I do that is there is a lever on the back to release the fence to be able to move it. You'd know how to move it. And then also on the back, there is a lock to keep it in either 45 degrees or 90 degrees. Pull that lock out and rotate it 90 degrees itself, and that will let it travel freely. Lift the whole thing up and you'll see the whole assembly, if it's a joint similar to mine, the whole assembly will lift right up and flat, and then you lock that lever again to hold it in position. It is so much easier to clean that fence when it's lifted, and it also exposes all the in-feed table and the out-feed table for you to clean those as well. If you want to, take the mutton chop off, which is that guard, swing guard, pull that off so you can get all the way around. When you get near the teeth, the cutting knives on the jointer, don't go too close to them. Keep around ½ an inch away, because if that aluminium oxide pad comes up to it, it will grab on those teeth and it will, it will either pull your finger into the tooth and cut you, or you're going to stuff the teeth up. So just be very wary about that. There's no need to go all the way up there. In a video I did years ago, what I did was I used a little bit of wet and dry paper up in the corners there by hand in a dry situation. Don't use wet. Someone asked me if I use terps or anything like, or method to assist. No, I do it totally dry. If you use anything wet, you're not going to be able to use the dust extraction, and hence you will start getting black stuff going everywhere, and you'll stuff up your vacuum cleaner, if whatever cleaner you're using, dust extractor. Let me see what's the next thing. We're moving through quickly, guys. It's nearly there. Stuart Cotterill, chest of drawers progress. Let's have a quick look at Stuart's thing here. Put the glasses back on for this so I can see what's going on. Okay, now Stuart's been building something, and where's the piece of paper that tells me all about it? It says, finally finishing up a chest of drawers for she who must be obeyed. So this is the intermediate sections. So I don't think Stuart's using any runners. So these are the timber runners he's making himself. Those slide straight into there. He's used dominoes to put the drawer carcasses together, which is a great idea. There it is, all sitting up, waiting for the handles to go on. And there's the handles. He was very quick putting those on, wasn't he? And then I think we're also going to see some pictures from the top. This is when it was raw still, and then he decided to wax it. So next picture I think will be a picture of the waxed top that he's put on. And how nice is that? So I'm going to read a little bit now when I come back to this frame. So I actually ran short of material for one of the drawers. So one to complete. Very simple drawer construction, glued and pinned, then dominoes straight into the corners. Not kosher woodworking, but works fine for me. I really want to preserve the natural wood contrast. I'll maintain the natural oak and walnut combination with clear wax. It's a first for Stuart, so he's having a fun time with it. As regards the clear wax, that will be interesting. Drawer construction with glue pins and dominoes. Okay, first coat of bry wax on the top, steel wool and wax, harder work, but the results are worth it. All the best and keep up the shows. So there you go, that's from Stuart. And Stuart just sends me pictures of his projects in now and then, and I'd love for you guys to do the same kind of thing. It's all easy to do. You just send it into davestantonfans@gmail.com, and there you go. I'll be able to grab hold of some pictures, put them in a little format, like a little slideshow like I did for Stuart there, and I'm sure Stuart will send some more pictures in when the project is totally completed. All right, support the channel through Patreon, and you get to see videos early and things that are happening in my life, and I go, what's happening with the NBN, what's happening with other things around the property, and that kind of stuff. The patrons are the main reason I keep this show going, so blame them. Okay, so where are we now? Let's get started on this stuff. I'll move that down there. Now, for preparation, what I've done is I have a measuring flask that is calibrated up the sides. I don't know if you can see that, maybe or maybe not, but it's in millimeters, or milliliters I should say. And I also have some syringes and an eyedropper. Now these are to measure out the amount of dye that I'm going to put in there. I tried yesterday with the blue to pour out one drop. I nearly lost half the bottle. It wasn't any good. Now they also say to stir with a flat blade or panel, so I'm going to use this for stirring. I'm going to mix up 300 ml, and then I'm going to decant into these little cups enough, and then I'm going to put the dye into a cup, and then I will pour the cup worth in to the hole, so into these holes that I've already prepared. So that's how it's going to happen. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? I asked Vicky if she had an eyedropper or a syringe, and she came out with 3 syringes, and I felt like saying, baby, is there something you want to tell me here? You know, I didn't know she had these lying around the house. All right, now I've got this camera set up over here. You might just be able to see it in the corner, because I found that I can get it to focus down there without having it up here somewhere, and it starts hunting for everything around the room. So I think that'll work well. Now, the thing, it says to wear gloves, and I'm going to wear these ones. As I keep on saying to everyone, these are the ones that I wear. They're nitrile, and they have no powder in them. They go on easy. I can take them off and put them back on again. I give it a quick blow to open it up. There we go, doctor. All right, and this one, and I have also got a blowtorch, and of course, a canister for it, and my heat gun. This guy here. Now, I don't know. They say that you can use a heat gun. I'm going to turn the speed down so low, I'm going to turn the temperature up to 250 degrees Celsius, maybe a bit hotter. The reason I want to try it with the heat gun, even though I have heard some people say it milks over a little bit, I don't want to burn the pine as I'm doing it. If I use the torch, if the heat gun fails, you and I are learning at the same time. Don't forget to help Dave out. Okay, love the light, dark contrast, beautiful top. It is lovely, isn't it? Stuart, comments give me a lot of encouragement to try new things. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, here we go. This dye, they say, if you get it on you, this stuff here, if you get this dye on you, it's going to take 2 days for it to wear off. You always struggle with the nitrile gloves. There we go. How good, it's so easy. And I'm about 5'10". I have average size hands for a chap that's height. So these are the large gloves. I bought the medium gloves to start. I gave them to Vicky. She's about 5'6". So they fit her hands perfectly, but they were too small for me. So as I said, I got the large. Never looked back. Now, let me see. I think I'm going to use this second one. I just went up to the local Woolworth store and I bought a 3-pack of these. And these little containers here, these things here, these little plastic cups, and these guys here that I can put a lid on. And I'm going to pour 20 millimeters deep in each of these holes. They say this is for the rigid. I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit. The heat gun will be fine. Thanks for that, Chewy. Then I'm going to put that out of the way. I'll use that for soldering or something further down the track. Even though this Bosch heat gun I can solder with. I am bouncing around a lot. So I'm going to put, this is also done in ounces as well as milliliters. I'm going to put 200 ml of resin in here, and then I'm going to top it up to 300 with a hardener. This is a 2-to-1 mix. Now this is for the rigid and the deep cast. The perfect gloss style, which is another one of this company's products, is a 1-to-1 mix. So don't get tripped up with that. All right, this is scary. I've never done this. I'll move things out of the way. Here we go. Now, the resin is quite runny. The hardener, I think, is not. So I'm going to come down to the side here and pour in 200 milliliters. Oh, this is beautiful. Now, as you're pouring, just take it easy. Try not to get too many bubbles in there like I just did. Oh, 200 mil, perfect. Okay. Now, here is this whole lot. This kit makes up 750 mils, so it's about the size of a standard bottle of wine, or a small bottle of Coke, or the middle-sized bottle of Coke. Now, this stuff, I think, it's got all these warnings on the side as well. This is going to be a whole lot more viscous. Oh yeah, not terribly, taking it up to 300. Now, once I've got this started, that's it. I will have 1 hour to do everything that I want to do with it. So that's put to the side. All right, now I'm going to stir it. And some people are probably wondering when I'm going to put the Vegemite in. And it's going cloudy. Can you see it going a little bit cloudy there? I'm going to bring it up closer to the camera. But not that close, David. Yeah, it's not too bad. It went cloudy at the beginning, but it seems to be kind of leveling out. I'm going to switch cameras. They say to keep stirring for 4 minutes. So let me get that camera there and do that. And bring it all the way up to here, and you'll be able to see me stirring it. Let's tip it down a little more. There, that's pretty clear. That's good. Okay, so I'm going to do this until past. You notice it's going clearer again as I'm stirring. This is non-toxic, and I've got a lot of room in here. This isn't like the stuff that I did the garage floor with. What's it say? Let me have a read while I'm stirring. Avoid breathing fumes. Do not eat or drink when using this product. Wear protective gloves, eye protection, face protection. Wash with plenty of water and soap thoroughly after hardening. If swallowed, call the emergency center. Harmful contact with the skin, causes severe burns and eye damage. May cause damage to organs. Kidneys, John, you're not allowed to use this. Through prolonged repeated exposure. Okay, well, that's going great. It's coming up very clear. Let's get it back to where it was, there and across and then down. And that'll come up clearer again. Okay, this is exciting. Now, the reason we're using a flat paddle is so that we don't introduce too many air bubbles. Now, there are a lot of small air bubbles in there, but I think we're going to be okay. The smell is nothing. It's neutral. John Lowry, a big hello out to John Lafferty. John's doing quite well. He's at home, and he hasn't started mowing the lawns yet. I don't think so, because there's a drought. Anti-clockwise. There you go. Is that going to make you happy, Gary? Anti-clockwise and then clockwise. Okay, I'm going to switch cameras again, because that's just too much exciting fishing, isn't it? Okay, I think I'm ready to take this out. Now, the other thing I'm curious about is I'm not going to clean this container. I think with my experience with the epoxy on the floor, it didn't really like bonding to a plastic, and I could pop the residue out as one piece when I've finished with the bucket. Now, drain it off. And it's making the Merbo look really nice. Okay, that's out of the way. So it pays to be prepared with things. All right, let's pour a clear pour to start. No, as I say, I've put little marks. I've put little marks up the side. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah. There, have a look in that one. See that mark on the side? That's 20 millimeters up from the base, because this stuff, they say you can only pour 20 millimeters thick in one pour. Then you have to wait, and then you pour another 10 millimeters, or 10 mil on top of that. Once it's become sticky, it's 6 hours later, I think. So, good on you, Darren. So, where was I? I got caught up with reading what was on the side there. So yeah, so this is for the rigid. For the deep cast, you can pour that at 50 millimeters in one pour, but don't get caught. The 50 millimeter stuff, the deep cast, doesn't have the same structural integrity as the rigid does. So this is a lot harder when it sets, and it will hold things together. The deep cast is only for filling knot holes, or I could fill this up, but it wouldn't have the same kind of strength as this one. So that's the instructions. I've got all the instructions over behind me, and I'll read those to you in a minute. Right. Let's pour 20 mil into here. Oh, this is fun. Okay. And it's going to drop on my bench as well, and I don't care because it's waxed. Now the first cup we're going to do, I'm going to fill this about halfway up. I should get a paper towel. I will. It would help, David, if I knew where they were. Look, there they are. Found them. Stop panicking. Now, the reason I've got the paper towel, and I'm going to put the bin beside me as well on the floor, it was a piece of plywood, don't worry about that, is so I can just clean up the drips that come from the side, so we don't have a problem with that. Now we're going to measure in some colour. Now the first one I've got is a blue, so this is the blue one. See, it says blue, and it's my favourite colour, as everyone knows. And I'm going to put 1 drop in this. So I've labelled all of them, how much is going in. Oh, this may not be very good. So here we go. 1 drop. Got it. I'm going to get a stirrer, and I think I've got some skewers here somewhere. Give me a second. I was using one yesterday. There they are. Found them. All right, so I got a packet of skewers because I thought it might be easier to stir this stuff up when I can get them out without stabbing myself. I'm going to use the blunt end of the skewer. And I think I might switch to the other camera for this because you might be interested to watch it. Now, I'm not getting a chance to read the chat here while this is happening. I apologise for that. But you can see there's the first pour of clear. And it is extremely clear. And I've got the blue. I'm bringing that down. So I've got 1 blue dot in the middle. Let's see how it goes. That is surprising. I didn't think that it would make that much difference to the colour. Now, probably a paddle pop stick would have been a better option, but Woolworths didn't have them. Now, these containers are 50 millilitres. And I've got probably just over half full. So it's probably 30 millilitres I've got in there with 1 drop. Pop that over there, and I'm going to pour it in, and we can have a look. That's enough. Don't want to go too deep. All right, I'm going to put this one aside, out of the way. Now I'm going to pour another one. This is my little plan of how I'm going to do it. And now I've lost all of the cups. David, where? Oh, there they are, of course. They're on the top here. So this is fascinating. I've always wanted to play around with this stuff, but I've never had time. So I thought it might be a good time to do it. So I'm going to pour this in, again, about half. Well, I need to put in half, even though half is going to be too much, because I want the results to be accurate. I'm going to put 2 drops in this time of the blue. One, 2. See, as I said yesterday, I tried pouring it straight out of the bottle. It was a mess. I'm going to get that same stirring stick after I've cleaned it off a little bit and move the resin. Now, nothing is sticky yet, which is really nice to know. And we'll switch the cameras again over to there, move that out of the way, and bring this in here. And I've got 2 dots now. We'll stir that one up. See, when you first put it in, you might be tempted to say, oh, it's got to have more than that. This is crazy. That's a whole lot bluer, isn't it? That's just from 2 dots. I was told 4 dots, or 4 drops, I should say, for 60 mil. That's 60 millimeters, which I think is the same as 60 cc's. Okay, that looks to be pretty well stirred. And I'm going to pour that one into there to 20 mil, deep, up to the mark. That's pretty good. All right, you see the difference in the color of that one straight away. When I shave the back off these, it's going to be a whole lot darker, or a whole lot easier, I should say, to see it. Now, you may not want to watch me do every one of these, but you're going to get the hang of what's happening. I'm going to go back to the other camera, and I'll finish all this off later on when the show's finished if we run out of time. But I'm going to keep going at the moment. This next one is going to be 3 drops of blue. And then I'm going to heat it up before I go any further. Okay. And 3 drops of blue. One, 2, 3. Now I'm going to take this dropper over to the water and get a cup. And clean it as much as I can. Now, I squeezed everything out of the dropper, but it's still colored. That's amazing. Don't drink it. It's not kerosene. It's nothing like that. Okay, more water. A little bit goes a long way. Okay, I'm happy with that. There you go. You're getting a full video. Okay, we'll can that. Done. So we're getting a full video on how to do something on the live show. This is a first. Okay, I'm going to close the blue. The reason being, I know what I'm like, and if I bump that, it's going to go over everything, and it'll end in tears. All right, now I've got to stir that up. Let's go back to that camera again. Transition. Where are we? to that one. All right, and there are my 3 drops. Let's start stirring. So remember that this is 3 drops in around about 30 ml. Being a 50 ml container, we're just over halfway high, and because it's conical, the surface area is increasing as you go towards the top of the container. So hence, it's going to give you kind of an irregular response. Well, a regular response, but it's going to be graduated. Okay, that looks pretty good. Get this guy. Oh. So that's looking like it's getting pretty dark. Let's put the white under it, you can see. There you go. And I'm going to decant that, half of it, into there. Up to 20 ml. And I reckon it's soaking into the walls a little bit as well. All right. Now if I turn this around sideways, clear, 1 drop, that's better. 2 drops, 3 drops. Mils and cc's are equal. Yeah, I thought they were. So there you go. So that's those 3. Now, I'm going to hit them with the heat gun because that's going to do us for this. I've still got time. I'm going to change the camera back around again. Transition. Now I'm going to hit them with the heat gun to release the air bubbles. Now those air bubbles seem to have gone. Now, I can see a couple down there, but it's looking okay. Once I've done that, we're going to go to another thing on the show that you might like to watch. Where is the heat gun? Here it is. This is just, I'll get rid of that one as well. Okay, so we've got, I'm going to turn the gun on and onto temperature and turn the temperature up. I'll probably go to 300 degrees. What's it say on the book here? Let it warm up. So perfect cast is, which one is this? Rigid or ultra clear epoxy resin, ultra clear, perfect coat, perfect cast, perfect cast. And this one is rigid. This one is deep. So we're working with rigid here at the moment. For best results, apply at temperatures 15 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius, 85% below, 85% humidity. Air bubble release is greatly enhanced by the use of a heat gun or gas torch. Hold the torch 15, which is 6 inches, to 20 centimeters, which is 8 inches away from the surface, and sweep continuously across the surface for a few seconds. If the flame is held in one spot, it will distort the surface and may cause damage to the substrate. It should be cured in a warm, dust-free area. Put a lid over the top, something over the top to look after it. I'm going to turn the fan down. So I'm 300 degrees Celsius. I'll move a few things out of the way. And I know that's working because I can see a little shimmer on the surface as I'm going across. I'm not really 6 inches away, am I? I can feel the heat coming back to me. That should do it. Now, if you're curious about how I intend to finish this off, what I'm going to do to get it to come up the extra height, I'm going to pour clear over the top. I'm not going to put any more colour. I don't want the colors to kind of mix up. Now, for people that have done this, I need you guys to let me know if that's going to be the right way. I may not read all of this at the moment, but I'm going to watch this show again, because I think this is one show that I might try and keep up on the channel so people can come back to refer to this until I do a full video once I've got my head around the whole process. But I'm excited. I'm like a kid with a packet of crayons. or a juvenile with a bag full of spray paint cans and a very clean subway to get in to start some artwork. All right, so that's great. We're going to leave that sit there. 1:45. I'm going to check what else I've got on for the show today. I'm going to take these off for the moment, and I'm not going to throw them away. I'm going to leave them turned inside out, because I'll pop those back on again. And I will move this over there. And you'll notice that I've got Zoe's sign here because I keep on getting in trouble for moving it. I'm going to move this very carefully, for moving it out of the way. Now, I have another little project that I have happening. My mother-in-law has got something wrong with the tendon in her shoulder, on both shoulders, and she has a hard time getting her hand all the way up. So, you know, as you get older, these things are going to happen. She's nearly 90. So she wants something in the fridge that's going to make it easier for her to get things out. So she can just go to the fridge and turn a Lazy Susan on one of the shelves, and this will turn around. So what I've done, I've got a 12-inch Lazy Susan, and with the flat side down, it's going to go on the shelf. It's galvanized, so it's not going to rust in there too much. The ball bearings are probably going to rust before this does, but you know, it's going to last a fair few years. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this. This is a bamboo chopping board. Now, I can't make these things. I can't buy the bamboo or the timber for the price I can buy this made. That's just one of the sad things about the things that we do. We love to do woodwork, and we all know in the back of our head, it's cheaper to go and buy something. Don't tell your wives, but it is cheaper to go and buy something already made. But where's the joy in that? There's no playing around in the shed having a good time. Now, what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to cut this into a 12-inch by 12-inch or 304mm by 304mm square. And I'm going to put that on there. But until I do, I've got something I'm going to do with it. Oh, I'm loving this perfect cast. It's a lot of fun. Here we go. I'm going to make a sandwich. Or actually, I'm going to make a surprise. You may have seen during the week that I bought some Tim Tams, and I bought them especially for this show. So I got some white Tim Tams and some original, and you can see I'm a fan of Tim Tams, so I've hooked into them. So this is white chocolate. This is ordinary milk chocolate. This, my friends, is Australia's one and only Vegemite. Now I'm going to make a Tim Tam sandwich. Now, this all came about because a year ago or so, I was eating this stuff raw. And I can do that because I was raised on the stuff. Louis Uberg's wife tried some in Norway, and she ran to the sink and threw up. Anyway, here we go. So I'm not going to be biased at all. I'm going to make, well, I'll get one nice clean one that hasn't melted at all because it's been pretty warm. Okay, so here we go. I need the glasses on for this because this is surgery. Are you enjoying the show so far? Now I'm going to cut this like so. And I'm going to put Vegemite in the middle. Now, years and years and years ago, when my youngest daughter, Ebony, and I'm not going to be a slouch with it, when my youngest daughter, Ebony, came to a function of some sort, and there was a kind of a morning tea or an afternoon tea put on, and there was these cream biscuits. Anyway, she got one of the cream biscuits and she ate it. And she said, "Dad, there's no cream in it." And I spotted one of my friends who actually splits the biscuits in half and eats all the cream out, then puts the biscuits, puts it back on the plate. So here we go. Here we go. Here's the Vegemite. And I could... I think I need to go to close-up camera for this so you actually believe what I'm doing. So I'm get the plate there, get it all ready for you. Here we go. Switch over the cameras from that one to that one. So there you go. You can see I'm not lying. There is Vegemite on it, and here's the rest of it going back on top. Now you could make up a little thing of these and put them on a plate, you know, for when people come to visit. And you say, these are a new cream biscuit that have been made by Arnott's or whoever makes them. I'll switch it back to the other camera so you can see that I'm not going to cheat at all. There we go. How about I prepare a white Tim Tam at the same time? So if I have to do this quickly, I'm not going to throw that away. That's too nice. Oh, I'm a connoisseur. I'm a connoisseur. I'm a chef. There you go. I should be wearing a black and white checked pants and suit. Okay, so here we go. Vegemite on this one too. Oh, not enough. Let's put some more on. It's still going on. Like that's not a small amount of Vegemite. I'll show you. See that? Yummo. All right, here we go. Pop that on there. Oh. Who thinks I'm mad? I'm going to do a quick read because we're nearly out of time, and I'm going to try and keep it to the hour today. Okay, what is a Tim Tam? Okay, Tim Tams are a wafer biscuit, and they're absolutely beautiful. It's one of Australia's... You could export these things. Them and Vegemite. I think Vegemite's banned in California. They'll probably say it's a cancerous thing. They say everything's going to give you cancer in California. But anyway, they're bringing out Arnott's shapes, flavoured Tim Tams or chocolate bars. I saw a survey on them. Michael Murray used epoxy to repair Tim Tam crack. I could get the orange or make an orange. No, someone would do it. I'm not going to say that. Okay. Can you see right through that, Michael? Okay, no, just no. Why? Mad everybody at this time. Mad, yes. What on earth is Vegemite? Well, okay, now I have a standby bottle of water here, just in case, and I have the garbage bin down here. All right, now, I think the best way to do this is just put it straight in. Well, surprisingly nice. That's very, very nice. If you don't believe me, try it. You won't. But that was very, very nice. Very, very salty taste in the middle. Chocolate. This is probably one of the things that will help you understand why I like it. As a kid, I used to get chocolate milkshakes and hot chips. Now, you're going to call them whatever you want around the world. Fries. In England, they're chips. In Australia, we call them chips. But they're the hot, deep-fried potato. Out it comes crisp. Well, instead of putting it straight in my mouth, I used to dunk them in a chocolate milkshake and then eat them. They had to have salt. Had to have salt on them as well. It's absolutely beautiful. So that just took me back to when I was a teenager. It was beautiful. The interesting one is going to be this white chocolate one. Everything is banned in California, Joseph, yes. Okay, it is a salty taste. Cadbury, here we go. Mark, you are watching an experiment. Why is it so? It's Professor Julie Sumner Miller. Here we go, the white one. This isn't for me to throw up in. It's just cup of coffee would go very well with that. Beautiful. I'm not washing it down for the flavour. It tasted great. But it's probably all over my teeth. One drop of Vegemite, eh? Well, there you go. All right. While I'm waiting for the waiting to die after eating that stuff, I'm going to read a little bit about the rigid and the deep and the perfect cast. I'll move these guys out of the way. I'll knock those on the head in the afternoon. And I probably lost half of the subscribers to the channel. Now, talking about subscribing to the channel, I've got a couple of pictures here because some people seem to be not all that clear on how to subscribe and to get notification when the show's on. So I've done a little bit of stuff here. This is called Ring the Bell. I'm going to talk you through it. Okay, how to get notified. Click the subscribe button and ring the bell. Now I'm going to put a little picture of a bell up here in a second. Down the bottom right hand side, see that little thing? It says there's a subscribe. There's a bell down there, and if it's got those little wobbly things, the notifications are on. If they're not, it's off. At the moment, you will not get subscribed if that little bell is turned off. That's all there is to it. It ain't rocket science. So if you feel as though you've been missing the show, haven't got the notification, do that. And no, you're not having the Tim Tams, Ken. I think that I'll be having them. You know, if Barry was allowed to have chocolate, he would share them with me. I'm going to read a little bit as I promised, and we've got a couple of minutes to go. The show hasn't been too bad today, has it? It's interesting. It's one of those things, if you're scared about something, just jump in and do it. I have never done this before. I read the instructions. I read the stuff from here, and I've spoken to a couple of guys at Carbotech about how they've already done it. And I've spoken to other people on the internet, and look, this is going to be your little bit of an introduction to it as well. This is not the only kind of resin on the market. It just happens to be the one that is stocked in the store that I work part-time at. So it's crazy for me not to get it there. There's other stuff. I think you can pour 50 ml in one pass. So they say, but you know, whether or not, I haven't read the manufacturer's specifications for those products. So we're going to have a look here. First one is Perfect Coat. And I got all these off Perfect Coat's website. So all you have to do is just type in and it'll tell you how to find things, or go to Carbotech's website, type in rigid or deep cast or rigid cast, and you'll find it. Hold on, let me have a quick read here. Lost Wits, does anyone feel the bell is redundant? If a person clicks subscribe, doesn't that mean they want to watch future videos? Not necessarily. You won't get informed. You must click that bell and click it to make it ring. You've got to have those two little wavery things either side, and then it will work. I didn't create YouTube, so you know, I can't speak for it. All right, let me have a look here. What do we got? Perfect Cast Deep is not to be thinned under any circumstances and has been formulated to optimal viscosity for that specific application. Is a solvent-free liquid epoxy system. So there's no solvents. That's the good thing about this stuff. It's, you know, that's why I'm not wearing any mask. There's no solvents in it. Even though they, on the thing, they're going to say wear masks, they're going to say all the safety stuff because they're covering their tail. That's how life is these days. Ultra clear castings in timber up to a maximum thickness of 50 mil. This is deep. Perfect Cast Deep has an excellent UV resistance and air release, and the extended gel time minimises the chance of exotherm. Pigments or tints can be added to Perfect Cast Deep to create translucent colours, and special effects can be created by embedding stones, shells, coins, or other decorative items. Mix 100 parts resin to 43 parts hardener by weight, or 2 parts resin to 1 part hardener by volume. And I did it by volume. It's a whole lot easier. Care should be taken when dispensing and mixing. Do not attempt to control the cure time by altering the hardening ratio. Okay, so that's that one, and it says pot life is 13 hours, thin film open time 72 hours, cured to solid state 7 days, cured to maximum strength 7 days at 25 degrees Celsius. And then for the tech heads, it's got mixed viscosity at 25 degrees is 174. Sure D hardness at 25 degrees Celsius is 77. And glass transition temperature, TG 24 hour at ambient plus 16 hours at 40 degrees Celsius is 36 degrees Celsius. What the hell that meant, I have no idea. But there you go. So it's clean up with lacquer thinners, acetone or alcohol. Follow safety warnings on solvents and provide adequate ventilation. It's solvent free. Why the hell did they put that in there? I don't understand. Clean epoxy hardener residue with warm soapy water. Do not dispose of resin or hardener in a liquid state. Waste resin and hardener can be mixed and cured in small quantities to a non-hazardous inert state. There you go. That's all that there is for it, guys. I'm going to finish pouring these off this afternoon, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks again to all of my patrons and everyone who supports the show. Thank you to everyone who, when they watch my videos, they let the ad run. That means so much to a YouTuber. You know, we put hours into creating these things, hours into creating these shows. If I put an ad, I don't normally put an ad on the show until around a few hours after I've gone live. And then if you come in and watch it after the event, please just let the ad run. It's going to be 6 seconds or maybe 20 seconds. Grab a coffee while it's happening, and then off you go. It does make a huge difference to the guys that are doing it. It stops us from getting burnout. It's a fact. All right. Okay, I'm going to do a quick read down the side here. Michael, the bell gives you a pop-up notice of a new broadcaster. Peter, they have to put those warnings due to COR. Secondly, thanks, Dave. Joseph Murphy, they put that in there for California. California, of course they do. Barry Doxy, you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much. See you, Brian. Brian is one of my patrons as well. Thank you so much, Brian, for doing that for me. The list of people will come up when I push this button over here, which will be the intro and scrolling text. And thanks everybody for coming. Look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and I shall see you next time. Bye.